had Frio, we had Greater Western Sydney, and we had a absolutely, completely devastated team from injuries in Fremantle. I'm just, at least from my perspective, I might just be a negative bias on this one, but they embarrass the Giants in this game because what I liked, I guess what you want to call it is they they effectively used controlled chaos in this one. Fremantle did. I think that's the best way to really describe what they did on that footy field because I had no idea what was going on that whole game. I don't think Fremantle had an idea what was going on in that game, but they were making it work because the Giants couldn't catch a mark to save a life. They couldn't, make a clean disposal on their end. They couldn't get any interceptions defensively. And the GWS just never got going in this one. You had more problems with kicking accuracy. I mean, I guess if we want to talk bright spots with this one, let's be positive. We're going to be positive at the end of the day. Toby Green, he's still looking pretty good here. 2 goals, a few behinds, his 20 disposals. And then what I really like, it might not have shown up on the stat sheet here, Donnie, but Bobby Hill, he was hustling his butt off this game. He might not have been making the tackles, but he was chasing guys down. He was pressuring the hell out of these guys. He was getting close to plays where he was like 30 meters away from his what it seemed like. This guy was all over that field. So I love what I saw from him, and Toby Green can still get things rolling as we progress into the season.
I mean, this game was one of those is that I was just like, this is going to be quite an interesting game because you
Mm-hmm.
have a GWS team that I think the expectations were quite mixed. Some people had them as still potentially in the finals. There were some people that were like, this is a team that's going to fall further back. So I've I'm still sitting on the fence with this team because there's so much talent on this GWS team. But
Mm-hmm.
to go off kind of your conversation that you guys were talking about was the fact is that they fall short in this game, and I'm seeing a lot more people starting to comment is does Cameron is his seat getting hotter and
Well,
and
can I
and I
ask you that question, Donnie? Because I was wanting to lead into this, so I'm glad you're able to take it
Mhm.
upon yourself. But we have to ask a question now. I know we're 2 games in, but is it time for Leon Cameron to go? He only has about a 54.5 winning percentage ever since he took over as head coach since 2014. And the problem is, like, I mean, looking back last year and now this, it really seems like this is a team that has a lot of talent, a lot of potential, but there's been no change in the level of play. They're still making the same mistakes they were making all last season, this season, and that's something that kind of falls onto the coaching. I feel like. So, what do you think? What do you make of this?
It's an avid argument. For me, I kind of look at it as this: is that if you go back, if you last year was nuts. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to put a ton into the coaching because everything was just nothing was normal.
Yeah.
If you go from the seasons before,
Mm-hmm.
a grand final loss, a preliminary finals loss, it- so he's had some success, but I
Mm-hmm.
think the issue that Leon Cameron runs into now is that, and this has been the argument by a lot of GWS haters, and I'm not trying to say this to jump on that particular bandwagon, but there's some merit to it in this argument.
Mm-hmm.
Is that I think GWS got so much talent from the AFL due to concessions because they were a new team. They wanted them to be successful. They
Yeah.
wanted a second team in New South Wales. Then I think Leon Cameron was put in a situation where he had to coddle kids to keep superstar talent in GWS, that they didn't learn the gritty side of football. They didn't learn the hardworking side of football. And this is the year it bites them because they play like superstars. They don't give the efforts when necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And that falls on the coach for not coaching it out of them.
Yeah.
Jeremy Cameron leaves. Okay. Yes. But there's still so much talent on this team.
Yeah.
Even minus the guys that they lost, they should still be a really good footy team. Like I think even minus what they had, they were still a potential for a finals position. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have them in, but I would have if you fully laddered it, I'd
Mm-hmm.
have probably had them between ninth and 12th
Yeah.
because I thought they had that much talent. As I saw in that game, there was no effort and desire. I mean, you could almost argue if you look at the behinds for Fremantle, that game should have been much uglier than it already was.
It should have been
So
150, to
oh yeah,
50, man.
22 behinds. The goal
22.
kicking was atrocious for
It should have
Fremantle,
been what happened in
unfortunately.
that 2019 grand final that you alluded to. It should have been that 114
Hmm.
to 25.
Yep.
Oh,
And
that
and
man.
that's kind of the thing that I see is like I kind of agree with you. I think Leon Cameron may escape this season, but I believe he sees his walking papers after this year unless he gets this team on a roll and maybe gets them. I mean, if he doesn't make the finals, he's got to finish ninth or 10th if he wants to keep his job. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, I see him potentially being one of the first coaches that finds himself on the unemployment line because it's with the talent that they have, the effort and the results are not what they should be. And that's just plain fact.
If I had to take a guess right now, I am saying that he, I think there's a really good chance that where we go, that GWS starts this thing off. Let's call that's another five. So they might start this season off 0-7. Leon
Mm-hmm.
Cameron is going to be out by mid-season without a doubt in my mind because let's look at the next 5 games for or the next 6 games for the Giants. Melbourne, Collingwood, Sydney, Bulldogs, Adelaide, and then you get Essendon, which might be a more competitive game than I want to admit at this point. It's really not looking good for the Giants. I'm aware it's the 0-2 thing. Bringing that back, I hate it because I want to be a good supporter of this team. Damn it, I'm not gonna ditch them, but at the same time, it's over for GWS. I just hope they have a good season so I could enjoy at least a couple games to watch and without ripping my hair out. But Leon Cameron, he's out of here. He is so out. He might not even make it to midseason.
Oh, that is a murderer's row early part of the season, and
Why the
unfortunately,
why who in the hell pissed off
if
the AFL scheduling committee to give them this stretch of games to start off the season? Come on, man.
well,
uh,
it's a little bit of what you get to because the way they schedule it is the teams that are in your kind of trajectory, your section of the ladder is who you play twice because they want you playing teams that they deem in your area.
yeah.
It's the reason why I look at Sydney's schedule this year. It falls really well for them because you're going to get 2 games potentially against North Melbourne. You're going to
Mm-hmm.
get 2 games against Essendon. So there may be towards the end of the season a little bit, maybe even some doubt cast on Sydney because if they win the games they should win, they may make the finals more is because of who they played
Mm-hmm.
more than on who they beat because may have 3 or 4 wins over teams that I mean are 17th 18th and have one win the entire season. So that's kind of where I think GWS, unfortunately, where they finished last year, just outside the 8, they're still in that realmish area of the ladder where you're playing some of the better teams in the league. So I think that's kind of I don't think that they ticked off the scheduling makers. I
Yeah.
just think
Just
where
got
they
unlucky,
finished
huh?
last year compared to the team they've got this year,
Mm-hmm.
it's not even close.
No.
It's not the same.
Was Jeremy Cameron that big of a key? Yeah, probably. He's pretty damn good at what he does, so you could make that argument there. Thank God for North Melbourne. Thank God for Essendon, because at least they're not going to get the spoon. That's all I gotta say at
Oh
this point.
boy.
That's it hurts. And